Before this episode starts, I would just like to say thank you everyone for the support on this reaction series. We're happy you're all enjoying it and sharing your opinions with us. We hope you'll continue watching since we'll be keeping this up for future seasons of the Owl House as well. If you're interested, this reaction series is now available in an audio-only format on multiple podcast apps. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Just search Crown Cryptid or the Owl House on your preferred app to find us easily. If you prefer the audio format, please be sure to follow the podcast on your app of choice, and leave a review for it if you can as well. These podcasts will still be uploaded to YouTube first. The audio versions will be released at a slower rate. Once again, thank you so much for the support. Please comment, subscribe, and leave likes on these videos to show us that you're enjoying them. Now here's today's episode.
That's a noise.
So do you like Willow now?
When there's an episode that they need to get right, they go all in and make it very right.
Do you like Willow now, Tipsy?
I like Dream Widow. I think she's amazing. And I wish Willow was more like Dream Widow. So yes, I do like Willow now.
Finally, an emotional scene during the hype where it actually makes sense.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know what it is about Amity, but they're just so good at writing her. Except for that one part in the episode where she yelled at Luce for half a second. That was really weird. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember which part.
There's a part where Luce was like, we have to go in that memory, and then Amity was like, you're just sitting here trying to mess everything up!
Oh yeah, that was strange.
It was weird, but I could excuse it because all she knows to deal with their problems is getting overly angry and pushing people away.
Well,
so
that was literally her being defensive. It was her last
that's...
excuse to get Luce not to see the memory she didn't want her to see.
Exactly. She has no other reason, so she's like, I'm just gonna yell at her, because that's how she's kind of grown to learn, so I excuse that one.
That's not an unrealistic reaction either. I mean, she got defensive at that point and she got snappy, but it only lasted a moment and they didn't hang up on it or anything.
Yeah.
Because the next scene happened.
I will say it now! Willow and Amity, good ship. Why is there no fan art of it? Why are people not getting on this?
Probably because, Amity treated Willow like shit for the previous episodes.
But that's the spice.
I know we're all bubbling shippers in this chat, but I was anti this ship until this episode, and now I'm no longer anti this ship. That was a clever retcon. Well, retcon? Why does she dye her hair? Her brothers clearly have naturally green hair, her brother and sister.
Do they?
So does she...
They might have just dyed, they all might have just had green hair. Brown hair and then dyed to green.
Maybe she wants to be more like them.
Yeah,
I think that's
theory.
what it's supposed to be.
Maybe.
I mean, you saw her in her diary, she was ranting about how everyone thinks her brother and sister are perfect. Nobody we've seen thinks her brother and sister are perfect. So maybe her parents do.
It seems like her family image is not important to her, but she's kind of been raised to believe that that's the most important thing about her, and she has all this stuff on her shoulders, and she's like, I need to dye my hair, and I need to be a blight, I need to prove to everyone that I'm good enough, so yeah.
They had the emotional scenes in the episode, the entire memory plot was just so interesting, and they spent enough time on it. There were some scenes I wanted to see more of, but I'm not going to cry over not seeing more of them.
And it was the perfect amount of B-plot. And the B-plot was great as well, because I just love Ida and King.
And honestly, if the episode leaves you wanting to have seen more of the episode, I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that they ring a bell and Ida's just doing a bell performance. They're we need to make Ida make noise right now. What should we ever do? They're make her do a bell performance.
I love it. Ooh.
Honestly, Gus was really funny too, I think, in this episode.
A lot of good gags. I'm so speechless with how good it was. Usually I talk a lot when I find so many things to nitpick. Now I'm just wow, what a solid episode.
I think the last two were a little underwhelming, so it's weird to go to have a quality bump.
Yeah, what the heck? Why does this show just go back and forth? So, the episode on the knee was also amazing. I think I gave it a 9.5.
Yeah.
And I think this one was even better because it was completely focused as well. Well, it had a B-plot, but it didn't matter. And the emotions of the characters were just so convincing in this episode, and it felt so strong, and I just really felt for them, and the show hasn't done that for me before, so massive props to this episode.
Yeah, it was just so, like, well written and focused at exactly what you said. It was just nice. Everyone did their part, and there were no bad characters, in my opinion.
Willow's voice actress did a good job too when she was all angry.
Yes, she's
And
so cute.
I really liked Amity's line in the beginning where they're like, blights only associate with the select few witches, keep annoying me, and then I'll, like, whatever she
Oh,
said.
that was good.
She's even fewer.
Because it was a perfect line, because it was like she had dodged the question while simultaneously, like, kind of keeping, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
keeping
she,
up the blight image, but still, like, dissing them like she should, because she should diss them. They are dissable people.
Yeah, it would have been frustrating to have all that happen and then see Amity just, like, ignore the bad comments there. Like, she still said something, but in her own Amity way.
Wow, it was just such a good episode. I'm sorry, I'm so speechless.
We didn't see Amity's parents other than just like their silhouettes in the flashback. Like, my friend came up with a theory that maybe blights are supposed to have green hair and Amity just doesn't for some reason, and so she like dyes it to try and fit in.
I was gonna say
What if she's adopted?
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. What if she's adopted?
Oh my god.
What if her parents are the Abomination Coven leaders? I don't know.
What if her parents just are shadows?
I mean, they wanted to be in the Emperor's Coven. They're probably in the Emperor's Coven.
That's another little detail. She had an Emperor's Coven poster in her room as a kid, so it's like, since she was a little kid, it was always like, you have to join this coven and you have to be as good as these witches. And
Strict and high and mighty families don't give me the impression of adopting. Unless I guess it's for show. Why would they adopt?
I don't know. But she has a different haircut to her siblings, and we don't know why.
Oh, actually, what are her siblings' eye colors?
wait, her dad had an affair with Ida because Ida had that hair
Oh
color.
my gosh! Mind blown!
Eat a mom theory.
Eat a mom theory!
I would like to discuss something, and I don't know what I want to discuss. So, when I first watched this episode, I remember being like, that was really good, but like, I didn't like part of it, and this time I liked it a little more. And that's the thing, I was like, I liked it a little more this time, but I'm like, what was my, I don't know if it was the pacing or what, I liked it, so I'm trying to figure out what.
Overall, I loved the episode. I remember feeling a little underwhelmed by, like, the secret revealed. I thought there was going to be more to it, but, you know, it's still, it works. It's emotional enough, you know?
Yeah.
To me, even the screen time of the bullies wasn't bad, because every time they show the bullies talking, I'm like, But then this time, I didn't find it as bad.
What's your invitation marketing? Get me another, and she just chucks it on the
Yeah,
floor.
and then two babies start fighting.
Kid fight!
The kids are fighting.
I thought the teacher was gonna go for the invitation.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That's what they set it up for.
The teachers encouraging the kids to fight is another example of the thing of how it's a weird, kind of inconsistent about how the teachers sometimes really care about rules, but sometimes they're just like, yeah, kid fight.
Yeah, but what if that's just like Mr. Jones from gardening, and he's kind of unhinged?
Yeah.
Or maybe kid fighting isn't in the rules, just magic
Well,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm thinking it's probably something like the rules are weird and specific. There were like 3 teachers there.
I also really appreciate how they handled it after they came out of the memory. I was like, are they going to have Amity go up to Willow and apologize and they're going to forgive each other forever? But no, they went to like...
Yeah.
She
like,
tried to
it's
silently leave, and then Willow was the one who called after her.
that, and then she was like, I can't really forgive you, but it's a start. And then she just gave her a smile and waved away. It was really, really... That was my favorite moment of the episode.
It's not like stupid cartoon. I'm not gonna mention which one, but it's not like, oh, I automatically forgive you for everything.
I wonder which cartoon you mean.
It's something called subtlety, which our house needs to learn more of.
Yeah.
Because this was good. Like, this proves that they can do it, you know? Do it with King, please.
Yeah. Write King better and make Gus, like, slightly more interesting.
I love Willow. I put my trust in her. I knew she'd get better. Still don't like her previous episode.
Well, we'll see how she's written from now on.
I'm gonna be so upset if they just forget about her again.
Like you said, her introduction was okay, but then it's like they just didn't utilize her. They could very well just keep doing that and be like, here's the really nice episode. Okay, now she's gonna shake her head at Gus a few more episodes when he kills Luce's friends.
For once, Luz and Amity encountered each other, and the conflict was Amity's fault, not Luz's. So,
I was so excited. Well, Luz did turn the picture around. She was an accomplice, but it was Amity's fault.
Yeah, but honestly, like, Willow having turned the picture around hardly hid anything anyway. If you were standing on the other side of the desk, you would have seen it still.
Dude, I got so stressed out when I first watched it. When, like, the memory started burning, I'm like, she's dead. Like, what?
They can't fix this, but of course they can, with the help of the owl lady.
Yeah, Lucky Ida knows some illegal tricks.
They were self-aware, at least. They're like, why would they make memories so flammable?
Yeah.
Like, just funny that
Literally,
they're just like...
the teacher was like, this is the most dangerous thing you could ever do to a memory. Alright, let's go leave this room unattended.
Yeah. Somehow I don't even blame them. I think that's hilarious. Like, somehow I'm just like, that's fine. You can do that.
Also, Goofy Willow was funny.
Mm-hmm. And cute voice acting as well. I think the only thing I found weird was there was no build-up to Amity getting into the owl house. Like, she was just there, and then she's like, oh, so this is the owl house. Like, while it is realistic, I wish they focused on it a bit more, because I would have loved to see like a more like skeeved out reaction from her, because she's a blight in a criminal's house. Why isn't she like freaking out about that?
maybe what Amity needs is to become a bad girl.
Yeah, Bad Girl Coven.
That girl Coven. Yeah, I want the t-shirts.
Amity goes home and tells her parents, oh, Mum and Dad, I met Ida the Owl Lady. I want to join the Bad Girl Coven instead of the Emperor's Coven when I grow up.
They would just execute her on the spot.
They would faint.
They'd say, you're gonna go where your cousin Jerry is, and then cousin Jerry is eating out of a dumpster in some other country.
I will say one thing that would have made the episode a little stronger for me is the parents' threat. They were like, if you don't deal with her, we will. I was like, oh my god, what are they gonna do to her? They're like, we'll make sure she doesn't get into school. I'm like, oh.
I wish they left it blank, you know?
If they get rid of that, I would have been like, oh, like, she's legitimately concerned for her safety. She has no choice.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's other schools. So it's like, she'll never get into Hexside again. It's like, alright, she can go to, like, Hexside 2 across the street.
She could go to, what's the enemy school? Fucking,
Glandius or whatever?
Yeah, Glandus.
Glandus, yeah.
She'll go to Glandus.
Yeah, I didn't like that part as much. That
They should have just
frustrated
left
me.
it blank, because that would have made the blight so much more scarier.
I think it would have been more intimidating, you know, if they had sort of left it ambiguous. But also, it does kind of make sense, I think, from Amity's point of view, having been raised in a family like that, to really value, like, a good education. And Willow was originally in the same track as Amity, so maybe she thought, like, oh no, she won't end up with a good career, and that's important to me.
Wonder how in demand Abomination track is in that universe.
You can't get any good jobs in Abomination track. That's such a boomer track to take.
Why is she in Abomination track?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I appreciate at least... I don't know how you guys felt about this. That they were like, here, you can be friends with the people that we picked, and she's like, just because you work with their parents doesn't mean I have to... She's like, I don't like them, they're mean. I'm like, at least that gives her a little bit of a reason to hang out with those people, because I'm like, she always is with them, and they're so lame.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Amity, why do you hang out with them? It's like, oh, she has sort of a expectation, too. So it's better than just being like, she is bully, she hang out with bully. I liked that.
It's like Draco Malfoy with Crabbe and Goyle. He's clearly, like, out of the league of those guys, but he hangs out with them because his evil dad is friends with their evil dads.
Yeah, exactly.
I will take your word for it.
Want to do ratings, or anyone else have something to say?
I wanted to note that, I mean, at the very beginning, I noticed that, like, the credit for storyboard artists was huge. And you can definitely tell, like, in a good way, because a lot of the visual elements in this one were, like, really great.
Ooh.
And, like, I started the episode thinking, like, it's another thing that Gravity Falls did already. But even just the concept of having, like, the Guardian in the mind is, like, it totally makes it very different. It, like, makes it
Luz
feel way
is
more
so
unique.
lucky with her ice spell. This is the third time she's just used an ice spell.
Yeah, she was, like, really smart to use that.
All the ice spell does is, like, propel ice upward, and 3 times now it's solved
She's
the enemy.
smart.
Like,
She's a smart girl.
I guess this one makes more sense, because, like, it made the guy slip into the... She made it big enough that he'd slip into the lake, or she. But, like, the other two is just like, take this, you got my trap, and they get thrown, and they just land, they're like, ow, that hurt, and then everything's fine.
This was a smart move. I also think I personally don't mind tropey episodes because they're cartoons. Like, I just expect it now.
You're part of the problem.
It depends on how good you do it. So, like, the reason why I didn't mind that, like, oh, they're doing a going inside someone else's body or mind episode. Actually, a going inside a body episode is something else. That's a completely different trope.
Oh yeah, that's a different
Yeah,
thing.
that's a different trope.
They'll do that. They'll do that.
They'll do it. They'll do it.
They already did it. What are you talking
Inside
about?
body?
Oh, you mean like they're like swinging
like-
on their uvula?
Yeah,
type
like
thing?
their cells. Like, oh, look at her stomach over there.
We had 2 shrinking episodes in a row.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't
guess.
say this is necessarily a shrinking episode. Although loose and Amity's bodies did disappear from the real world, so I don't know, maybe.
What are your ratings?
I give it a 9!
Woo!
A 9.
Woo!
Who's next?
9.5.
10.
Whoa!
Every time I think I'm giving a high score, someone just fucking ones-up me. Now it's 2 people.
My gut says 8.5. I really enjoyed it, but like that's as high as I can go
Mine
with
does
it.
too. Like, I'm thinking, like, I'm kind of comparing to the past 2 best episodes that were also just Amity episodes. Like, to me, for whatever reason, I think I like those better, and it's probably just like the scenarios sort of were better.
That's what I mean. That's when I was like, oh, I want to discuss this. I'm like, why can't I give this higher than an 8.5? Like, what flaws are docking off? I can't really hone in on them.
No, it's
but,
fine.
like...
Keep the 8.5. It's making me feel better about my
No,
rating.
I'm keeping it, but I'm saying, like, I was hoping when I watched it a second time, I'd be able to be like, oh, this is what I didn't like about it. But I was like, no, that was good. I don't
Maybe
know.
it just hasn't captured your interest enough. And maybe that's why.
I bet I would have said 10 if you guys hadn't, like, introduced decimal points into this. It just makes it all more confusing.
And I love decimal points. Viva la decimals!
Like, I would have been angry to give that one an 8, but I wouldn't want to give it a 9, so I would have given it an 8, and I don't like it. So, 8.5.
Alright. Good episode.
Wait, what about Tulip?
I said 9.5.
Oh, nice. Still a big increase from the last 2. Very awesome. And we're getting close to catching up, and there's a few that I really like soon, so I'm excited.
Thanks for watching, and super special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to know when I post a new video. Be sure to stay tuned for more new videos and live streams. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok to get frequent updates and video clips. And consider supporting me on Patreon for just $2 a month to get some behind-the-scenes content, like scripts and review notes, and even early videos. Once we get about 20 Patreon supporters, I'll start a Discord server for us to chat.